Is it true that you were the one walking out of step on the Kenny Road album?
Kenny Rodo?
Kenny Road album with the Beatles. You were walking out of steps, so you did kill Paul.
No, I was asleep in Tom Waits' car at the time.
Ken, what are the Dylan flowers?
That was it. I wrote that song. I was living in England and I had a balcony, and there was a balcony next to my balcony, and there was a girl. What was her name? She was a granddaughter of the Hearst family. Who was her? The big Hearst. Who's Hearst?
Randolph Hearst?
Not Patty Hearst, but Randolph Hearst. Yeah, I forget her first name. I was kind of crazy about her, so I used to leap from my balcony to her balcony. It was like a 50-foot drop. And drinking at the same time. So I was trying to impress her like guys do sometimes. You know? So I kind of impressed her a little bit. And then, but it didn't impress her enough. So then I wrote her a song called The Girl with the Dylan Flowers, because I gave her some flowers. That's a fake story.
Did the chicken wire you were playing behind really save your life when you opened for Blue Oyster Cult at Alexander's in Browns Mills, New Jersey?
You want to know if the chicken wire that was in front of me at my gig, playing in front of Blue Oyster Cult at Alexander's in New Jersey, saved my life? Yeah, it did, because I came out on stage and I was kind of like rude to the audience, and the Blue Oyster Cult fans were not into my sense of humor. They were more into like a basic rock show. But it did save my life, because a lot of shit was fucking thrown at me. I'll tell you. Just like there might be some tonight. Like people be yelling, "It's a forgery, it's a fraud," you know.
Mr. Kweder, what is your take on alcoholism?
Alcoholism? Oh, sorry. You don't have to. Alcoholism ain't what it used to be. Ain't what it used to be. Ain't what it used to be. Alcoholism ain't what it used to be. Used to be a lot of fun. All together now. Alcoholism ain't what it used to be. Ain't what it used to be. Ain't what it used to be. Alcoholism ain't what it used to be. Used to be a lot of fun. That's my tune.
So, do you enjoy drinking?
Hold on a second. The question is, do I enjoy drinking? Fuck no, I hate it.
Do you know a wine sommelier?
I don't know any wine sommeliers, but I know a water sommelier. And he's in fucking jail right now. I'm not kidding, he's in jail right now.
Ken, is it true that you used to only date girls that looked like Patty Hearst?
Absolutely. I was fascinated with Patty. Like my latest fascination is with Elizabeth Holmes, if you know who she is.
Yeah.
Talks in a low. So they say she's faking her low voice, but I'm a fake expert. That she's not faking it, she speaks in that voice. But getting back to Patty Hearst, the matter is true that I only dated girls that look like Patty Hearst for several years. And it was exciting, except the time when I went and I bought a bunch of plastic machine guns, and we went down to Wildwood, and I took some pills, and when we drove back, and somebody else was driving, me and her were in the back seat of this, what was called a station wagon, and shooting out the window at the cars that were sort of passing us with these machine guns. They were fake. I thought it was hilarious, but when we got to the toll booth, the fucking cops they got us and shit. And we got out of the car with the plastic machine guns, and somebody in a Winnebago said he almost went off the road because he saw the guns pointing up. So he was telling the toll booth people that me and the Patty Hearst lookalike were trying to make him crash. So the answer to your question is yes, I did go out with Patty Hearst lookalikes.
Ken, I'm sorry, Ken, got a follow-up question. So when you were dating this girl who looked like Patty Hearst, did she make you call her Tanya?
A little role playing, yes. I'm telling you, I was crazy about her, but her father wasn't crazy about me. She did have a father.
Have you ever been on a bus and start to think about the song "Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round"?
Yes, I do. I have. And one time I took mushrooms and I got on the bus. And then I was singing that song. There's a SEPTA bus. And SEPTA bus drivers don't have a sense of humor. Or a sense of irony. And then I pulled out a sword cane. I actually had a sword cane with me while I was. Where's the sword cane at? Give me that sword cane. It's a true story. This fucking actually happened. It all started with the fucking wheels on the bus going round and round, right? Listen to me? The fucking wheels on the bus. I'm on the mushrooms. Wheels on the bus. Yeah, shit. So I'm on there. I'm on the mushrooms. So I decide that I didn't like the fact there were cars passing the bus. I had this sword cane on me. This was back when you could open the windows of the bus. So I pull out the fucking sword, right? And I am out the window. Like, the cars are trying to go by me here, right? And I'm like, no, into the windshield. Like, no, you can't go by. And like, cars are backing up. But then they would pass me and I would be yelling to the people, the cars, get out of your car and get on the bus with me, motherfuckers. Like this shit going like that. And then it kept going on and on. But then apparently the people that were on the bus, the very well-adjusted co-passengers of the SEPTA bus, put a complaint in to the very unironic bus driver. The next thing you know, when we stopped at the traffic light, he got up and he said, "You, get the fuck off the bus." So the wheels on the bus fucking went round and round for a little bit, but not all night long.
Kenn, give us a look at that sword cane for a second.
Okay, yeah.
Mr. Kweder, playing off that beautiful story about a beautiful song, The Wheels on the Bus, what is the actual responsibility of a song once it's written?
Well, it's a very important question. The responsibility of the song, once it's written, well, if the song sits up, it should start crawling. Once it starts crawling, it should start walking. Once it starts walking, it should start running. And it should know that it's walking, crawling, and running. I think it's a setup if it doesn't want to walk or crawl.
This is a question from your millennial audience. Why is everybody texting and hardly talking nowadays?
That's pretty easy. Why is everybody texting? And, I got some text here right now. Hold on a second. Apparently, I was supposed to be gigging in Roxborough tonight. Holy fuck, I didn't make it. Guy wants me to do an Elvis show now. So, why is everybody texting instead of calling, talking to people? It's easy. 3 words. Talking is creepy.
Kweder, I hear there's a competition going on behind the scenes, and I'm curious, are you pitching a movie screenplay to Lifetime Movies?
Yes, because I'm a big believer Lifetime Movies is the greatest channel ever on cable TV. I always like things like The Perfect Roommate, The Perfect Husband, because you kind of figure there's not the perfect husband or the perfect roommate or the perfect doctor. So I'm thinking about the perfect wedding singer, about like he's doing weddings. I'm pitching this to them now. He's doing weddings, and he actually does the wedding itself in the church. But the bride and the groom, the newly married, decide to sort of like not pay him. So they run to the reception, and they just blow him off. It keeps happening to this one guy. So then he gets fed up. So he finds out that they're doing a honeymoon in Disney World. He gets on an airplane. He tracks them down. And that's where the fun begins for Lifetime Movies.
speaking of getting paid, what was the most awkward situation you found yourself getting paid for a gig?
What's the most awkward situation I found myself in terms of getting paid for a gig? This is tied in with the wedding thing. I actually did do a wedding. Hey, listen to that. Wow. This is making a statement. The most awkward situation of getting paid at a gig is that I did do a ceremony in a church, and then they hadn't paid me. So then I had to get in what they call, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, it's like the receiving line to congratulate them. And I was in the line ready to, I'm like, dude, man, you're gonna fucking pay me. You know? Give me the fucking money now, come on. I know you're gonna run to a fucking reception, blow me up, I'm gonna track you down and dish you, fucker.
Yes.
So that's a true story.
Tommy Tokens.
Who's Tommy Tokens? Tommy Tokens was is and was and still is, thank God, a very active coke dealer in Philadelphia. Because we do need coke sometimes, come on, admit it. And it's not always about wine, which I'm going to drink this at some point. Thank you guys. I can't wait. If I was a younger Kweder, I'd be drinking it, right? I'd be through it already. But so Tommy Tokens, I'll tell you a Tommy Tokens story. You want to hear a Tommy Tokens story?
Yeah.
When you wake up tomorrow, you go, did he talk about fucking Tommy Tokens? So Tommy Tokens was a very popular coke dealer a few years ago, and still is, thank God. So what happened, I don't know if you guys know this, nobody here's ever done cocaine, but during the holidays, if you're a coke dealer, you're happy for like Thanksgiving or Easter or Christmas, or particularly New Year's Eve. Halloween, that's when all the major drug dealing goes down. You know, I remember one time I had a big house in Fishtown, and a friend of mine was, Tommy Tokens. He decided to tell people I had a party at my house. I didn't even have, there was no party in the house. So New Year's Eve I come home, there's like 30 fucking people in there, and Tokens is, I said, what the fuck are you doing? He goes, Kweder, I got them all here because I know they wanted to buy coke, so I get them all in your fucking house. So he made like $3,000 that night. I mean, thanks for telling me. So but this is not, the point of the story is this, here's the story. The strange part is that like, one of the holidays that Tokens was coming up, he was looking forward to, a dear friend of his had died. So Tokens was very close to this guy, so he had to sit what is known as Shiva, right? So during Shiva, everybody's trying to get a hold of Tokens, right? Because they're texting him, and he's like got the thing with the ringer off and shit, right? So he had to keep going to the bathroom and dealing through the window of the bathroom during the Shiva, like all night. True story. Tommy Tokens.
Ken, what is your connection to Tim McGraw?
I remember, I knew his dad, Tug McGraw, because I was bartending at the time, before I became a blues singer. And, fake. And his dad used to come into my bar, and as a matter of fact, a guy named John McManus, he introduced me to him, John McManus. And he one time asked me if he could bring his son to one of my gigs, who became known as Tim McGraw. So I used to bring Tim McGraw on stage when I would do like weekend stuff on South Street. And after a while, he was great. He was only 19 at the time. So, and then as you know, he became a big star. So it's a true story. Hard to believe. I made it up, right?
How do you judge the success of an event or a career?
How do I basically judge the success of an artistic event or a career? It's really simple. By the amount of money you fucking lose. Like when I did like my Elvis show back in 1989, I had hired a zillion people to make that a really great show, knowing full well I might lose money. But guess what? I lost a boatload, but it was a great artistic event. So the more money you lose, the better the event.
Is it a follow-up? Isn't it true that your guitar was unplugged during that Elvis show?
That is true, because it's all about image. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You got one? Yeah.
How is it that when you do covers of songs by Lady Gaga, Britney Spears, or Judy Garland, it seems effortless on your part?
How is it that I could do Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, who else?
Judy Garland.
Judy Garland, and
And Britney Spears.
And Britney Spears and Avril Lavigne and Call Me Maybe, stuff like that by Carly Rae Jepsen. Why is that easy for me to do? Because they all stole my fucking act. It's true. I don't want to mention anybody else that's local, but they all fucking did. Bruce helped on him, yeah, of course he did. That's obvious.
Ken, tell us about your mom. What was your mom like?
My mom was great. She was, my mom actually thought she was Judy Garland, you know. My dad thought he was Frank Sinatra. Made for a lot of fun weekends, you know. They weren't drinking Coca-Cola. And there was something known as drama going on. But my mother was very unstructured. She was all about poetry and words. And she spoke her mind. And if she lived today, they would nail her to a cross. I loved her, my mother. She was great. That's very good. If it wasn't for my mom, it would be, it's not like it wouldn't be me. It wouldn't be like the Kenn Presser that you all love.
What does the future hold for you?
You're all standing in the future right now. It's like, this is my future. My future is comprised of non-stop, successive press conferences. Fake press conferences.
Mr. Kweder, speaking of the future, if you'd be willing to cast your mind back a little bit, what have you been up to lately?
Let me think. Gigging, looking for gigs, doing the sandwich trick. You guys don't know about the sandwich trick? I'll tell you about that later on. You can ask me later on. Getting more gigs, drinking, and constantly lying about a book of short stories that I'm writing.
Wow.
Pretty clever, huh? Robert, you have a question?
I do, Ken. It's not on my.
Yeah.
How many clubs have you been banned for life?
That's a very good question. It's actually a very good question. I used to do a thing called Tom and Jim. In fact, I think this is a Tom and Jim thing. This was with my buddy Chris Larkin, who was my soulmate musically. Yeah. So here we go. This was Tom and Jim. Chris Larkin was Tom, I was Jim. And my dear friend John the Baptist brought this tonight, and I appreciate this. Because this was one of our artwork things. That the return of that zany duo, Tom and Jim, back from the Boondocks. Now this duo was together longer. I mean, at one point, as long as Hall & Oates, you know, like 20 years.
Before Hall & Oates.
Before we started, before Hall & Oates, we went, you know, about that long.
After all this.
Yeah.
But really long. But when we got together, we got banned almost from every fucking
Folk.
the folk club. Remember?
Vacuum.
Yeah.